Hello everybody and welcome to Walkabout Games, and in this video we're going to look at contrast paints, historical miniatures, and in this case American Union infantry. So let's go down to the table. Stay tuned. Welcome to the tabletop everybody. I know this isn't Union infantry in front of you, but I was just going to do a quick update on the Confederate infantry that I did, and how they turned out. This is 100% Games Workshop Citadel contrast paint. I did not use any regular paints other than the brown that's on their bases. Now, let's see, is this focusing nicely? It is. I'll just turn it nice and slow. But this is 100% contrast paint. Just going to turn it really slowly. And I've started doing the basing. And every once in a while it goes fuzzy, but it's going to go really slow. I'll turn this around. I need to get some kind of lazy Susan or something just to spin. And like I said, it's 100% contrast paint. I learned a lot, especially everything to do with the primer underneath has a lot how your paint's going to dry and how it's going to look. Some of the grays aren't exactly the way I like them, but I learned a lesson and I will go on from there. And so just have to base these miniatures with some flock. I've started putting tufts on the movement tray. And I've had a couple people ask about the movement tray. And I don't know, I'll just show you guys. Let's pull this out. Oh! It's a magnetic movement tray. So it's magnetic sheeting, and the miniatures, I base all my miniatures on washers. So, and then I don't put the flock in the area where the washer sits. So I think for a first unit, trying this method, I think that looks really good. So I'm quite happy with that. So like I said, that's 100% contrast paint. Am I going to go back and maybe do the flesh? I don't know if I really have to. I've got lots of these guys to paint. More time can be spent on getting more units out on the board, so I can actually start playing some games. These guys are being based for sharp practice. Oh, we have, there we go. And so same with the Union infantry. They'll be based for sharp practice. Okay, so I just wanted an update on that. Now we're going to move on to the Union infantry. So let's just put these guys aside. And let's move. We've got 4 models. Let's see. Let's get that into focus. There we go. For some reason my autofocus is not working very well. Let's try turn it off. We'll try to do it manually. There we go. So sometimes autofocus, I've noticed, just doesn't want to do it for you, so you do it manually. Okay, so we're going with 4 riflemen. So there's 4 that are similar in base, in look. So these guys are going to be in a lot of ways, a lot simpler, because dark blue, light blue pants. Well, I don't have the contrast color that I want for the light blue pants, but I was looking at pictures, drawings, etc., historical information and stuff like that, and they did have a light bluey gray, almost very light bluey gray pants as well, and some units had different colored pants as well, but I think I'm going to go with a fairly light bluey gray for the pants, which I'm going to use the Apothecary white, because on this gray, when it goes on, it comes out a light bluey gray on this gray primer. So that's what I'm going to use for the pants. I'm going to use the contrast ultramarines blue for the kepes and the jackets. And when I get to the other colors, I'll go over what colors I used for those. With these guys, I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful because of the way their belts, cross belts, and everything else is there. And we'll probably have to do some touch-ups on these ones. I had very, very minimal. I don't even think I had any touch-ups with the gray sear on the Confederate infantry. They kind of just went perfectly. So hopefully we'll have the same situation with these guys. So we're going to start off with the ultramarine blue. So I'm going to give it a good shake. And I'm going to use it straight out of the bottle, because I have used this blue before, and I have used it with the contrast technical medium, and I found that it thinned it out just a little too much. I think we're just going to go use it straight out of the bottle. And that reminds me, I forgot to bring, I have had one of these bottles tip over already. You know how the GW paint bottles are. I had my Gilliman Flesh pour over last night and go all over the table here. I managed to save a good chunk of it because luckily it went onto some cardboard, and I just kind of made a funnel out of it and put it on back in the bottle, and so I didn't lose that much. But I do have 3D printed bases to put these in, but I keep on forgetting to bring them in the room. So we're going to be very careful, and I'm going to be using the Army Painter Wargamer Monster Brush, and because I like how the point is, it holds a lot of paint as well. And we are going to start with the dark blue. And this isn't the darkest blue in the contrast paints. There is one darker. I haven't received that color yet, and I will try it. But I think it might be too dark for these purposes. I think this one's just right. I know that some of the jackets were almost a black, but I think I want it to stick out just a little bit more, so I go with this color. It's a little bit lighter, but I think it gives the same effect. So we'll just, and like I did with the other ones, I have 4 models set up here. So what I'm going to do is I'll do the basic primary colors, so the dark blue and the light bluey gray, and then I will grab one of these models, and then I start doing more finer points like the cross belts, the flesh, that kind of thing on one model. And that way I can show you guys a little bit faster, so the video doesn't drag on more than 30 minutes. I was quite happy that I got the other video down to 30 minutes. I did have to cut and edit the video just so that I could get it to the 30-minute mark, but I think it worked out okay. And in that video, like I said, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I discovered, using this paint, especially on historical miniatures, the undercoat primer has a big effect on how this paint looks. And I found that the gray colors over the bone color primer does not look right. It doesn't look bad, it just doesn't look right for Confederate infantry. And I know there was lots of different colors of gray and stuff like that, but it just didn't look right to me. So on the 4 that I started, they were done in the bone color. The next 4 that I did in that 8-man unit, I did them in the gray cedar gray, or the Krylon gray that I use. So that works. And the gray just looks so much better over top of that. Way better than the bone color. And sometimes, like, I noticed that how I got the gray on the Confederates to look a little bit better on the ones I primed in the bone color was I went over them again after it dried, and definitely looked a lot better. So almost finished the blue here. I was thinking about putting a filter of thinned down Agrax Earthshade over the Confederates, but I don't think I have to. I think it looks the part. I was going to use it just to dull down some of the more bright colors, but I do not think it needs it. It looks fine the way it is, I think. Okay, so bring this first guy up to the camera a little bit. Okay, so I was trying to be as careful as possible with that blue. So that's what we're going for. And like I said, yeah, with this painting technique, you might have to go back and do some touch-ups, but I think it's minimal. My brush control is fairly decent, but if you're a new painter, this is going to help your brush control. You just have to have patience. And I know with some new painters that I've met or talked to, the contrast paints, most of them like it, and the reason for that is they were probably going to have to do touch-ups anyways, they figure, but they find that they concentrate a little bit more with this paint. That's what one of them said to me. He concentrates a little bit more using this paint than he does his regular paint, which I thought was interesting. I know, like even now, just doing this part right here, I am finding it hard to keep talking in the video while I'm doing it because I'm concentrating on it. But it'd be a pretty boring video just watching me just sit here quietly and paint. So, but I am really liking how this blue is looking. I think it looks the part of a Union soldier. I know some people would say, hey, it's too light. Well, I've seen people use lighter blues than this, and that just didn't look right to me either. But this seems to do the trick, I think. And I'm painting it straight out of the bottle. Never thought I'd ever do that with a paint. I'm so used to using a wet palette. And when I use the medium, the contrast medium, I put it in my wet palette and I use it. Okay, so get this down here. One more spot. Okay. Another one. Oh, no, I got the hat to do. Almost forgot the hat. I do like how I can see the folds better than with the darker blue. You get a little light tinge of that whitish gray coming through, so you can actually see. Okay, so another one done. we'll just move them over. And we'll just keep going. And I think after we do this Union infantry unit, I think what I'm going to do is do some Napoleonics. And I'm thinking about doing some, just because it'd be a little bit more difficult, I apparently want to do difficult things. So I'm going to do the most common, probably, stuff to do. I'm going to do some British infantry and some French. And we'll try with that, because those are the armies you usually see on the battlefield when you're playing Napoleonics. And I have those models, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some British line infantry and some French line infantry, and we're going to try painting them. I gotta think about how I want to do it and which colors I want to use. And I'm thinking, because I like how this blue looks the way it is here right now, I'm going to be doing the French with definitely with the light gray primer, so like gray sear basically. And I think with the British, I haven't tried a lot with the reds yet. Done a little bit. And I kind of like it over the bone so far. For the look, it's a little bit warmer. So we will try. What I might do is do, I'm not going to do any test ones. I'm going to do it just like I'm doing these ones. I'm just going to grab the models and we're going to try it just like right on camera and see how it goes. But I think, I'm trying to think if I want to do 4 in the bone color and then 4 in the light gray. And, they did have different color matches of red. So I might do that just so that I can see which way looks best. And I'm only doing it on about 4 of them. So they can all be mixed in with whatever unit I'm doing in the end. And then whatever I figure out from doing those 4 of each, I can decide which one I like best and then do the rest with that primer color. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that next. I do have a camo tutorial video that I have to redo, which I will be doing. I'm just putting some more guys together, and then I will prime them. And with those guys, I did them in the with the gray. I like with most of the stuff I've done so far, I've liked the gray for the primer coat. If I want to get those colors a little bit warmer, I think the bone is just definitely a better color primer for that effect. Like I said, there's a hair there. There we go. But I definitely like this contrast paint. It will not replace, like regular painting. But if I'm doing a lot of mass troops, in which case my Napoleonics is definitely considered mass troops, or my American Civil War, or I've got that's another thing I can do. I can do some American Revolutionary War. I do have some miniatures for that, so maybe I'll do those as well. But I have lots of miniatures, I've got lots of hobbies, and a lot of them are miniatures based. And I'm getting to that age where I want to play, and I don't have as much time as I used to. And that's like a lot of us. You know, we have jobs, we have lives, we have children, you know, all these things. And if this helps me paint what I think is a little bit faster, and some people say, oh, it's not as fast. Well, it seems, and I've said this before, seems to be faster. Is it faster? I don't know, but it sure seemed like when I was painting the camouflage the first job I did with this contrast paint, it did seem faster because I flew through 6 guys in an hour, and I think that's damn fast for me, anyways. So let's wash. I got a little bit of the blue paint on a belt. That's a great thing about contrast paints. You can wipe it clean. There, I got most of it. There's just a little bit that I couldn't get. And I can go back and touch that up. Okay, but it just does seem faster. And that's all that's important. It just, like, it feels like I'm accomplishing more. And that's important, especially when we have to paint lots and lots of miniatures, especially if you're playing black powder or something that, uses a lot of miniatures. General de Brigade or, I have not tried these on a smaller scale. That is one of the things I'll be doing as well. So I just have the hat on this guy, and then we can move on to the pants. And then after the pants are all done, I will grab one of these miniatures and we will start putting on some of the detail work. And that way we're not talking for over an hour about how we painted these. And if I do it this way, I don't have to edit. Yay! Well, minor editing. And like I've said before, it's new camera, new cameras, and new editing software. So there we go. So we got the dark blue done. So we'll move that back over. We'll wash our brush out really well. And this time I remember to bring a cloth in with me. Okay. So we're going to go with the contrast Apothecary white. So, and like I said, it comes out of kind of a bluey gray, and I like how it looks. Here, I'm just going to grab one of these guys here. And if you can see that, it looks kind of a bluey gray. In the light, I see it that way. I don't know if it shows that way up on the camera, but it looks that way to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do all the pants. And then by the time we get over to the last guy again, we'll go back to the first guy, and we'll start blocking in the other colors. And we'll get him to the point of being done. So with this stuff, I find that I have to put it on fairly generously. The more I put on, the better the bluey gray look looks. This shouldn't take as long as the jackets because I don't really have to watch out too much for anything in the way. Most of it is up higher. Now we'll come around here. We'll do a little bit thicker coat. And when this dries, it looks so good. Okay, so it's hard to tell in this light. I'm still working on the lighting for the painting table area. I found I had it too bright before. Now I'm thinking it might need to be brighter. So I just can't win. So that one will go over, and I'll pull the next one over. should be at work today, but I got some really, well, really sad news today. So I'm doing this video just to get my mind off things a little bit and think about other things right at the moment. And there we go. Like I said, you want to put a fairly thick coat of this on. When I get that lighter blue, I'm going to do another video, probably a short one, just showing what the lighter blue looks like, because I think that'll look really good as well. I have some Union and Confederate cavalry. I think I've got an artillery piece or two that need to be done. But I think the next thing is Napoleonics, and then the camo, and then I'll try some 15 mil. And I'm just trying to think of what I can do in 15 mil. Like, I've got lots and lots of World War II. I'm thinking, I haven't seen, like, I've tried some of the contrast paint on larger vehicles, 1/50th scale, so approximately, 28 mil, 156, whatever, scaled vehicles. And I tried one side of a armored personnel carrier with some of the contrast paints. I didn't like it. It looked terrible. Just looked blotchy and just terrible. And so what I want to do is I want to try it on smaller vehicles. Try it on some 15 millimeter. I've got some Italians that I wouldn't mind trying some of these more earthy tones on. Some British 8th Army. I'm thinking about trying it out on them. We'll probably record that. And I'll look at maybe doing some infantry and see what it turns out like. But I just got to figure out the colors and what would work. Because, like, contrast paints are not going to work on everything. But I want to see what kind of effects and stuff I can get. Okay, and this is the last one for the pants. And then I'm back around to the first one. And then we will start doing some other items on his uniform. Okay, so we've now done the cappies, the pants, the jackets. Okay. Now, I've been looking at pictures, and I've seen some of the sacks and stuff like that are tans, light grays, whites, and belts can be the light tans and light browns. And then their ammo pouches, it looked like majority of them were cross black with a black pouch. So I think what I'm going to do is do that one first, and I'm going to use the black Templar to do that. And like I said, I'm going to do all the black that I think would be on his uniform with this. So I'm going to also do the barrel of the rifle and stuff like that as well, and also the brim of the cape. And so we'll start off with the cape. We're going to start right from the top, and we're going to just get the black there. And that looks good enough right there. And then I'm going to start at the tip of the rifle and do the banding. And here, trigger guard. And then I'm going to pull it across the top to get the barrel. Being careful I don't hit anything I don't want to hit. Now I'll just do the other side. Banding. Okay, so I've done that. The banding on the rifle, the barrel on the rifle. Okay, now I'm going to look at his cross belt. Okay, and it's going to be here where he's getting all his powder and cartridges and stuff. So I'm going to paint that with the black Templar. And I'm going to pull it across, and it'll thin out and you'll see the gray through it on the edges and stuff, and that looks just perfect. We're going to make it look like black leather. Okay, and then we're going to go down the belt. And try not to put it on too thick because I want to see some of that gray through it. Off a little bit. And then the fun part going across his chest, especially with a big brush. Okay. And there's a pouch right here on this front there. I'm going to make that black as well. Okay. Now, let's see if I can show this off. I'll turn it. These cameras get in pretty nicely. Okay. I think also the frog for his bayonet, it's sticking out down here. So I think I'm going to hit that with the black as well, so it looks like black leather. I was thinking about doing it in a brownish color, but then it looks too much with these other two belts and pouches and canteen. So I think that's where we're going to put it, right there. Okay, so we're going to put away this. Now, with the canteen, I think I'm going to paint that a bluey gray. I've got the Space Wolves gray. I think I'm going to do that in that color. But I'm going to do the cross belts more of a browny khaki color, because I don't think they would be of the bluey gray. So what I discovered while doing the Confederates is that Naz drag yellow on top of the gray or the brown looks like it looks more of a browny leather color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cross belts, the bag, and then come back to the canteen with the blue gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this color, and I'm going to start on the bag part, and I'm going to paint that first. And there's all in some of these colors, like I was really surprised when I looked at the yellow and I looked at it and I'm like, hey, that's very kind of almost a yellowy brown color. I thought it looked really cool, so I'm going to use it definitely on this bag. Okay, now we're going to do the cross belts. Get a little bit more paint there. And I find that it sticks out quite well. like I said, guys, you got to play around with this paint to know what it does, and I'm learning here like everybody else. Let's turn this. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. I will post pictures. I've been posting pictures on Facebook. So that's where I'm going with that color. So that one sticks out really nicely. And I find that, you know, giving these figures a good matte spray afterwards helps well to dull down the paint job, because some of the colors look glossy, some of them look bright, and stuff. So while I'm waiting for that to, I don't want to go around that canteen yet because it is a bit wet. So what I'm going to do is do the shoes. And for the shoes, I'm going to use Wildwood contrast. So it's a very dark brown. Very dark brown leather for the shoes. That way, with my color that I use on my bases, which is kind of a brown, you know, like a rusty brown look, burnt umber, whatever you want to call it, these darker leather shoe look with the darker brown look really good. They pop out a little bit better. If I want lighter shoes, I'll use the skeleton bone, and that makes the shoes look a lot lighter. Okay. Let's see. And once it dries, you can see a little bit of the gray through it. So it looks like leather folds and the way the light's hitting it. It does actually contrast. I'll wipe out my brush. Okay, next thing I think we're going to work on is, let's see, we do the flash or do we do the rifles? I think we'll do the rifle. And for the rifle, and I really like how this looks, I use the Fire Slayer flesh. It gives the effect of a nice reddy brown, almost like a, I forget what kind of wood that is, but it looks really the part for wood I've found so far, especially on rifle stocks. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hit the areas where the sling is not, because there are slings on these rifles. So I don't want to hit those. So it's going to be a little bit challenging on this rifle because he's holding the sling on this side. So we are going to go like this. And I've pretty much missed that whole thing. And then go around to the other side. I'm trying to be as careful as possible not to get it anywhere I don't want to get it. I've heard people say, well, you're just spending so much time being so careful. Well, I do that with regular paint too. And then some people have said, well, that you can wash over it, use a wash. And I'm like, well, I still love washes. I go through so much wash, it's not funny. But I think I get a different look doing it this way. And I like, so far, I've liked it on most things. I can't say I like it on everything, and I don't like paints on everything either. You know? So, let's see if we can focus in. There we go. So the rifle's done now. And what you can do later on, if you really wanted to, you could take some gunmetal and just edge it nice. Just really nicely. But I find that I've got enough of the white gray or the bone showing through that you get that glint that makes it look like a metallic. I've seen a lot of people using these paints for non-metallic metals, and I might give that a go. We'll see. But now that we've got that done, I'm going to do the flesh. And my go-to flesh, which I spilled last night, is Gilliman flesh. And I have a tendency of going around even onto the hair. And later on I come around with, like the eye end in yellow, or if I want reddish hair, I put on a little bit of the Fire Slayer onto it, or even one of the reds. Or if I want it black, I can go around and do some black on it. But to be consistent, I do the whole head that you can see for the flesh color, just so I don't miss any spots with the flesh color. And like I said, I think the only thing, if I was to highlight anything on these models, the Confederates or the Union infantry, would be the flesh. I think that'd be the only thing that I would spend a little bit extra time to do, is the flesh color, just so it just pops a little bit more and looks a little bit better. Not that it looked bad, because if you looked at the beginning of this video and you looked at my Confederate infantry, that looks like a good tabletop standard for a paint job. And then go around this side and get the hand. And a little bit more right here. Okay, let's see if we can see that. Here we go. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Yeah, like I said, I have to work on the lighting a little bit better so you guys can see a little bit better. So, wash out our brush. Next thing, we want to do the canteen. Oh, whoops. Get a little bit of hand over on this side of the rifle. Glad I noticed that. There's his thumb. Alright. Almost missed his thumb. That wouldn't have been good. Okay. So, we now have this model to the point where the only thing left is the canteen. And like I said, we're going to use the Space Wolves Gray. So, and there's probably going to be somebody on here that tells me, wow, this part of the uniform was this color and all this. Okay, you're right. But I'm trying to just do a basic paint job. If this was a special unit or something like that, I might take a little bit more time. But right at this point, I'm just trying to get a basic, tidy, tabletop quality paint job. And I think I got it. Okay, now, oh, I can see something else that I can, let's see, what color should, this sling on the rifle, I think it's going to probably be a light color. That's too, what shit color should I do that? I kind of like how that white looks, but I don't think they were white. I'm going to do some research. Okay, I just spoke too soon. I'm going to do research. I'm going to leave it that color because it looks really cool. I like how it pops, but I don't think they were white. I think they were brown or something. But we're going to call this, and I'm going to pop this up close. And let's see if I can... Yeah, I definitely need some better light. I'm going to try to see if I can point this light down a little bit, and let's see if we can get a little bit better. Yeah, you can see those lines in those pants. I like that. And it is a fairly light bluey gray. And you'll see the sling is white. Or focus, come on, focus. There we go. Oops, let's pull it back a little bit. Sorry about this, guys. I'll get better at this, I really will. Okay, so I think we're going to call it at that. I'm going to go and I'm going to paint the other 7 that I've got done up. And then I will do the basing and all this kind of stuff. And I'll post pictures as I do it on Walkabout Games' Facebook or Tabletop Commanders or Rocky's War Room and Instagram as well. So that's a Union infantryman. Pretty simple paint job, but it's doable, fairly fast, and I think it looks tabletop. So at that, I'm going to call it, and I'm going to say goodbye, guys. And I'll see you in the next video, which should be modern camo. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.